Hey everyone, welcome back to the fifth edition of Around the Block. Today we have Phillip and Guilherme, our strategy expert here at Vector. So we're going to see some really great things today. We're going to be covering a lot of things going on with the bearish factors that are continuing to affect the market today, some of the rumors, and some of the trending topics. So let's get right into it. I'd like to start out talking about those macro factors. And Phillip, what are your thoughts? What are your expectations coming up? And what do we see happening with those?
Well, great to see you again, Jasmin, and great to see you again, Gil. First time seeing you on the show, so glad to have a bit more of a strategic view on here. You all are going to see Gil, really knows his stuff, and we'll be presenting some great strategies later. But for now, a lot of the market is running on some overall macro conditions that are affecting all markets, not just crypto. Crypto just happens to be further out on the risk curve, so it tends to be traded like high growth tech stock, and big tech stocks like Tesla, Amazon, and Microsoft just finished their worst quarter in years. The NASDAQ, I believe, is down at 22%. Everything is struggling. It's not just certain stocks are doing worse than others, but just as a whole, that the area is not doing well. And considering how much institutional money is in the market now, and how they trade, based on profiles, the underlying technology doesn't really matter too much. It's just profiled as a high growth tech stock, so they trade it like a high growth tech stock. And because they're not doing well, it happens to spill over to cryptocurrencies as well. So that is something that's weighing down. And then on top of that, really the biggest issue are recession fears. And the definition of a recession are 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, and we've already had one negative quarter. And some economists have already forecast that the GDP figures that are going to come out at the end of July for this quarter will be negative as well, and we will therefore officially be in a recession. So that's another thing that's kind of weighing on the markets. And on sentiment in general. And people, I think, are reacting kind of before that even happens, because they see things like commodity prices, which were down double digits across the board. Commodities such as oil, natural gas, wheat, copper, they all saw double digit drops. And a sharp contraction in commodities are usually a leading indicator in a recession. So people are kind of seeing the writing on the wall before the official numbers come out, and thinking that it's going to be negative, given all of the conditions, the monetary policy issues, the wars, things like that are really just weighing down overall on markets in general. People, when there's a lot of fear in markets, people don't go, like I said, they tend to stick with assets they know better, like cash. So people are really loading heavy into that and not investing as much. So you're seeing that across all markets, and crypto is no exception.
And I've seen some talks about them saying crypto's losing and Wall Street has won. What is your opinion on that? Do you think that's true? Do you think that there's more room still in this fight?
Yeah, I think that's a very short-sighted statement. Who do you know who said that, by any chance?
Let's see. I saw it kind of on like the breaking news recently.
It's funny, like you see these bankers from traditional finance kind of look at a select set of data and extrapolate these wild conclusions. So I'm always interested in hearing, like, just the stuff that comes out. But I think to say that Wall Street has won is ridiculous, because Wall Street is in crypto. So I mean,
Right.
since they're in it, I guess they're kind of losing too if crypto's losing. So it's kind of a ridiculous statement. But like, if you have a long-term view of the technology and what it can do, then I mean, it's really kind of a no-brainer. There's going to be a lot of pain in between here and there. There's still, the macro issues that we have yet to clear. We're still not on the other side. We're still not like improving yet. Like things, like the inflation numbers, have only been getting worse. And I've only kept up really with U.S. inflation. I've heard recently like UK and the Eurozone is really struggling as well. Which is it's not like third world countries, like it's first world nations like ours that are experiencing difficulties financially and otherwise. So and they're even more affected in terms of the commodity issues, just because Russia and Ukraine are very dominant players in terms of, I know, wheat and soil production. So that goes into the whole food, that leads into food issues and other issues. So they're even more exposed than we are, I guess, on this side of the river. But I think that once things eventually start to clear up, which they have to, whether that's months or years from now, obviously the markets will turn around with that.
Yeah. Guilherme, what do you think we're looking at in terms of, timelines? What are your expectations for the market and how long this crypto winter will last?
So, first of all, thank you guys for inviting me. I'm really glad to be here in the show. And, as a trader, I do not try to know what's going to happen before it happens. So I just follow the chart, And one thing that I want to explain today for you guys and for everyone who's watching is how you actually can trade without knowing what's going to come up next, So sorry, my cat just stepped in, and home office issues,
Crypto cats.
So, crypto cats, literally. So I really don't know how long this crypto winter is gonna stay for, really. But I'm pretty sure we have right now talking about the chart, a very important level of price in the $19 level. So we're still waiting for what's gonna happen, but definitely it's a very important point right now.
Yeah. I know we see a lot of things happening, including more companies, more exchanges falling down after the Terra crash. And really, I know, Philip, you are really delved deep into this. What are some of those exchanges doing? What's happening with those?
It's not so much exchanges as it is crypto lenders, specifically centralized crypto lenders. It's funny, people, are kind of pointing to these failing crypto companies, like saying DeFi isn't working. If you actually look at the DeFi lending platforms like Aave, Compound, and Maker, they're all functioning just as they should be, liquidating properly. What is happening, and we touched on this a bit last week, is this is still contagion from Three Arrow Capital's exposure to Terra Luna, as well as other riskier assets. That was one they really took the chin on. But what Three Arrows Capital did, for those who aren't familiar, they were considered like kind of the crypto hedge fund to go to. It was started by two friends, Kyle Davies and Zusu, who I want to say took like, I don't know, $1 million and turned into like 100 billion or something at some point. All unrealized, mind you. That it was probably all on paper. I doubt it was ever actual cash at some point. but they basically were the smartest guys in the room, or were perceived to be. And because they seemed to kind of not only like be winning all the time, but they were also like posting a lot on Twitter. Like Zoo would post these like cryptic like tweets and like, you know, kind of predict the market. And like they had a whole podcast called Uncommon Core that I listened to a bit. And they really created kind of a cult of personality around them, like for not only being like a really smart hedge fund, but just like really smart, like insider, just know it alls, you know what I'm saying? And what that allowed them to do was borrow from these centralized lending platforms like Celsius, like Voyager, as well as I believe Bald is the most recent one that had exposure to them. But the two biggest ones were Celsius and Voyager Digital. And Voyager Digital was the big one this week. They actually served a default notice to Three Arrows Capital for one of the loans they gave them for about $670 million of debt. And they did this, they gave them this loan without any collateral, which is mind blowing. And it's really, what I've heard is really due to the way that they created this kind of mystique around Three Arrows Capital, of them always winning, of them always having major gains. It was seen as risk-free for some reason for these lending platforms to lend out to them. And they really just wanted to deliver on those percentages for their depositors. Like Voyager, I think, had up to like 15 or like 18% for certain coins. And, you know, as you saw with like the Anchor protocol in Terra Luna, you know, certain APRs are just, certain ones are sustainable and certain ones just aren't. And Voyager, I guess, relied on basically taking those deposits for their lenders or for the depositors and lending it out to 3AC and then getting a return and then giving that return to the people that deposited. And once that went under, obviously Voyager had a huge hole in their book. So they're looking at all kinds of options. There's rumors of insolvency, but you know, it's really tough to see what's going on until all the dust settles. In the meantime, Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX have basically been extending credit lines to everyone, and you know, kind of really trying to not save the market. Like I saw a meme of Sam Bankman-Fried that has like Atlas with like the world on his shoulders, and it's like Sam Bankman-Fried in like the crypto market, because he's loaning out these credit lines to these struggling lending companies. And I believe, if I'm correct, that they are acquiring BlockFi for around $240 million. I believe that, not 100%, but according to Axios, FTX signed a deal that would allow them to buy BlockFi for up to $240 million, and it's been heard that they might exercise that. And what's crazy about that is that, you know, just a few months ago, it was valued in the billions. So it just shows, you know, how much they've been affected just over the last couple of quarters, that they've gone to being such a major company to probably being acquired at this point. So BlockFi is another lender, in case people aren't sure about that, but it's essentially the outsized bets of these centralized lenders that led to a lot of these issues. And had they really, I guess, not taken such risks, there wouldn't be such major issues, and it wouldn't be affecting the market as much.
Right. I mean, it's crazy to think that $240 million is really pennies on the dollar to what the company should have been worth and was worth at one point.
Mm-hmm.
There was also rumors of him buying FTX, purchasing Robinhood, taking over. But he has claimed that those are just rumors and he does not plan on taking Robinhood over. So I guess we'll have to see where that's going to go as well. But it looks like Sam Bankman-Fried, he is just on a roll. He is not stopping. Again, we were just able to integrate FTX US onto our Vector platform as an exchange to now connect to. And it doesn't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to come out with and continue to do in the future. But on top of that, there's some other rumors that we've heard, including the famous TikToker Anonymous, which apparently is a group that claim they will expose Do Kwan's entire history, really, and bring him to justice as soon as possible in regards to the collapse of the Terra ecosystem, which erased more than $40 billion in value from the crypto market. So the Anonymous group has outlined a list of Kwan's alleged crimes, including claims that he was cashing out $80 million in US dollar each month from Luna prior to its collapse, and that he had a role in yet another algorithmic stablecoin called Basis Cash, which also collapsed. So it looks like this may not be the first time that, crashes have followed him. So I'm waiting to see, are they going to come through? Are they going to expose his history? Are we going to really get to know who the Kwan is and where that's going? What are your thoughts?
I'm not sure what else there is to expose, to be honest. They've already, a lot of this is already pretty well known. There's also rumors of him. I think one of the things that really is worrisome legally was that him and Kyle Davies, his partner, were representing their balance sheet or misrepresenting their balance sheet, I want to say weeks or even days before Three Arrows Capital really went under. So they were still borrowing hundreds of millions and trying to lever up and I guess try and get away with as much as they can before everything went under. He apparently, he's just really, I don't know, he's been I don't know. He's been so angry at people. If you've seen his tweets on Twitter, he's very I don't know, takes things personally. And, a lot of people have been looking to find what's going on with this guy for a while. So, I think it'll be exciting to see if anything else comes out. But it feels like we've already reached a kind of a breaking point with him. And then the SEC has already served him a notice, and I know he tried to appeal that, but I think the appeal got denied. So I'm not sure what the extradition thing might be. I'm not sure where Do Kwan is in the world right now, but hopefully somewhere he can't be extradited. But it'll be interesting to see what else he has, because he's been a bad actor in the space for a while. So we'll see what else comes out.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of talks about Terra actually, performing pretty well amid, all these rumors, all these crashes. And some people even think that they can get it back to, where it used to be. I'm not sure if that's super realistic among all of these, notices being served and everything that is coming out of the woodworks. But, there's still a lot of people that believe in trying to save the project and bringing it back to where it used to be once before. So I guess we'll have to just wait it out and see. But currently, Lunk is doing better, but it is about 8% down today, 8.45% down. So, in the past few days, we had seen it going green, but it is red again. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the Bitcoin pricing. We saw El Salvador, they took in 80 Bitcoins at 19K, taking advantage of this dip that we're having. So, that's kind of showing, I know some people might not think like, oh, 80 Bitcoin is a lot, but for a smaller country like El Salvador, that's a really big accomplishment, I would say. And that shows, their movement towards crypto and towards maybe bringing Bitcoin and crypto into their government and pushing that out. But I'd love to hear this strategy you have, Guilherme. If you're able to share your screen, we can talk a little bit more about what's going on with Bitcoin, maybe some of the price action happening in the market today.
Sure, let's go. I'm gonna share my screen right now. So here we have the one-day chart of Bitcoin, the pair Bitcoin USDT, right? And there's been a lot of talking about how long this crypto winter is going to take. And as a trader, as I said before, I am not interested in knowing or trying to guess how long this is going to take. I am just interested on looking at where the price is going, right? You can see here that I have already put three important levels of prices on the Bitcoin. First one, $28K. Bitcoin was there for like 30 days or so, and then got on this level right now, which is very important, by the way, $19,000. Some people are talking about Bitcoin going actually to 12,000. I don't know if you guys heard of this analysis that Bitcoin can go to $12,000. But one strategy that I use, and I want to teach you guys how to set up this on Vector, is I use two very basic and very simple indicators that help me to make my decisions on trading Bitcoin or even other crypto. Okay, so I'm going to teach from the zero. This is the basic chart. You click with your right button and go to add indicator. Let's go with the most used indicator in the world, which is the moving average. Something pretty cool about Vector is that when you choose the indicator, it shows a very quick explanation of how it works. So like I said, it's here, probably one of the most used trend indicator and so on. So I'm going to use the 9-period indicator. Some traders may know that Larry Williams became very famous because of that one. Basically, he would go short when the moving average points down. He would go long when it points up. Very simple. But also,
that's under that was under the 9-day moving average, above and below the 9-day.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And that's just the simple moving average.
Yes, that's a simple moving average of 9 days. Yeah, that's it. And also, I'm going to use the HiLo activator, which is also a very good indicator to follow the trend. So I'm going to explain right now how it works. I'm going to add here. As a default, Vector is going to set up the 3-period or either the 3-day HiLo activator. So I'm going to click with the right button of my mouse and change it to 12 days. All right. So I'm going to click in OK. And there we go. And also with the moving average, I'm going to click here, go in insert paint bar, and go to 2MV media. Media in Portuguese, for those who know, is average. So basically means the same thing. All right, there you go. Now you can see how it's very simple to visualize that right now we have a very strong bearish market, and it is not a very good idea to buy Bitcoin right now because you don't know whether it's going to fall for more days, So what I use as a strategy is that when the HiLo activator becomes green and also my 9-day moving average, which is a simple moving average, becomes green, I buy my Bitcoins. It's really that simple. You can go backwards and see how good and how accurate this strategy has been in the last 3 years. I'm going to show you guys an example from January 2021. It's a very simple example.
And Gil, real quick, this is on the daily chart.
Daily chart, as you can see here, it's a daily chart. Is the simplest, most used chart of crypto, I think. And as you can see here, there are some points where we have the two indicators pointing in different directions. For example, HiLo it's red, but the moving average is green. So I don't do anything. I just wait, right? And here specifically on 2nd February 2021, we had this candle, we had a breakout, and then my moving average turned green, the HiLo also green. Then I bought here and I stay long until the HiLo activator becomes red again. So it's a very simple strategy. You can use that either for a long-term buy of Bitcoin or even just a trade. If you trade in the futures market, you can also go short when the HiLo becomes red, such as, let's take an example from this year, such as here. It was actually last year, but December 2021, we had this area of the market having a pullback after this 40-day bearish market. We had a pullback, and then here we had the HiLo activator going red again, and the 90-day moving average also going red. If you go short here, you've taken 17% profit trade. So I'm not telling you guys just trust me and do it. I'm telling you guys go backwards and do the test by yourself, and you're gonna see how accurate this strategy is, not only for Bitcoin but for Ethereum and other crypto coins. So this is the very unique strategy that I use, because it has two very basic and very simple to understand indicators: moving average, which is the most used one, and HiLo activator. You are going to be basically following the trend. So as you asked Jasmin before, oh Gil, do you think we still have a few more days of crypto winter? I don't know, and I don't care. I don't care knowing whether it's gonna last for more 20, 40, or like 90 days. I don't care. I'm just waiting for the trend to stop, and then we're gonna have sooner or later another bull market, and then I'm going to buy Bitcoin. That's what I do. So answering your question, I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I'm just waiting for my strategy to indicate me what I'm going to do, and then I will buy more Bitcoin, as I have ever done. As simple as that. I know it looks pretty simple, but it is that simple.
I mean, I think you brought up some great points about, saying like we cannot predict, so really you don't care, because I think that's where a lot of new traders go wrong, is they try to say like, oh, everybody's saying Bitcoin will go down to 12. And then imagine you're holding maybe a bonus you got at work, waiting for Bitcoin to go down to 12, but it hits 17 again. And then we just start going back up because the market's correct itself. Maybe some of these macro effectors are gone now. Maybe the war in Ukraine ends and things start to go back up. We start mooning again. Now you lost that chance, and you could have bought maybe at a point where you were maybe middle or good. It was a good buying point, but you missed it because you were being greedy, waiting for that bottom that never came. So I think that's a really good point to say we shouldn't care about what the period of time is going to happen. We all know that crypto's here to stay. I think the SEC knows it. I think I think everybody knows it. Crypto's here to stay, and the market will always correct itself, like Phillip said. We're just waiting for it to happen, and good traders exercise patience and use indicators. They use the tools that they have handy, just like you showed.
Yes, I think a lot of beginner traders learn how to trade using resistance and support, which is pretty simple, effective. But as you said, a lot of people might be waiting for Bitcoin to reach $12,000. And we can't predict whether this is going to happen or not. Bitcoin can just start going up by now. We don't know. No one knows. If I knew, I would just be waiting as well, but I don't know. And I don't know, really, being honest with, I don't know. So, but if you wait and it doesn't go under, let's say, $17,000, you're going to miss the chance to buy Bitcoin. And then you're going to just watch this go back to the, I don't know, like $50,000-$60,000 levels again. So don't just wait for Bitcoin or any other crypto to reach the price you want to buy, because that might not happen. Just follow the trend, and you're gonna have a few buys in the year. Is not a lot, but they're going to be in great points.
Oh, thank you for showing us that strategy. I think I'm definitely going to implement that into my trading. I, as a trader, like to build up in phases, start investing theoretically within, passively, whether it's up or down, when you have some chances, buy in phases. So when it goes down, you buy a little bit more and you take profits when you can. But this is a great way to really make sure you're watching what you're doing. You're taking a little bit more risk management into account here, which I think we all learned. Risk management is probably the most important factor when trading, and knowing how to manage your risk, knowing, financial education, because if you can't manage your money at 40K, that means you can't manage your money when you have 100K either. So if you don't know how to manage money, I think that's the best way to start if you're looking to get into crypto. And let's not repeat history. Hopefully, right? I hope some of the lenders are watching this and take our wise words of advice here, and maybe follow your strategy.
All right, I'm glad to share, and I'm glad to be here back again when the Bitcoin has reached another levels and you can see an entry using this strategy. That would be great. So I'm glad to share it. As you can see, like a few days ago, there has been a lot of talking in the $28,000 level, but I didn't buy it because my indicator didn't show that I should buy. And if I did, I would be a little sad because it's gone like 30% down. So you can see how accurate is this strategy. So I'm not saying just trust me. Again, I'm telling you guys, go use Vector, plot these indicators in your screen and go backwards and do the test. You can see how good points you can get using this one.
Yeah, well, which, by the way, guys, if you go down to the description box below, you will find a 15-day free trial to access the Vector Pro platform, where you can check out the 9-day moving average, the HiLo activator, and many more to maybe start getting started with your trades. There's some great breaking news topics on the Vector platform as well. So yeah, don't forget to check that out. Take advantage of that trial, and hopefully we will see you on there soon. You can always connect with me or Guy, even Phillip, on the Connect chat that's available on the platform as well. So I would like to move into some kind of blubbering news, I would say, because really it first came out in 2020 that Coinbase had secured a deal with a 4-year contract, really, with the U.S. Secret Service that would allow them to use Coinbase Analytics. And the agency apparently began using Coinbase Analytics on May 11th, 2020, and their contract will expire May 10th, 2024. Some reason it kind of came back out to light recently. 2 years later, 2 years after this contract has already been made, we still have 2 years left. So on Twitter, they did say they are not they don't make use of the Coinbase user data ever, because they're denying selling our customer data to the US federal agencies, which is what's been kind of spreading around Twitter. A lot of people spreading FUD saying, get your money off Coinbase, these, traders basically. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And really, we can't always judge until we know all of the facts. And I would say, there's a lot of FUD around it. They claim they don't sell any of our user data. But then again, anytime you go onto Google and you click you accept cookies, they're taking your user data. So is this something that we should be upset by, or something that we should just, take it with a grain of salt and continue moving on using the platform if that's your choice of platform? I don't know, Philip, do you have any thoughts about that? Or even Yugi?
I think it's only natural that the government's going to get more involved as this thing grows. And if we want comprehensive regulation and want to reach a point of mass adoption, then we're going to need to have some sort of government oversight to a certain degree, at least on certain aspects. Like, there's ways you can buy your crypto anonymously, with peer-to-peer marketplaces and exchanges and stuff. But, if you want the easy way, and Coinbase is pretty much one of the easiest ways, one of the most visible ways people acquire and get started with crypto, then typically there's a price tag to it, just like with Robinhood. The commission-free trades that they're letting you make are paid for by payment for order flow. So essentially, they're selling your trades to other clearing houses, and they're able to front-run retail. It's a whole long story, but if it's a product and it's free, then basically your data is the price that you're going to be paying for it, and Coinbase is no exception. So I'm not too surprised, and you're hearing more partnerships with different U.S. government regulatory bodies, and I think it'll honestly make it a little easier when it comes time to discuss what the regulatory framework looks like for digital assets, at least in the U.S.
Yeah, I agree with you, Philip. I think crypto traders cannot always run away from the government regulations. And as you said, when the product is free, your data is the price, such as in Facebook and stuff, as we know. So we still have the peer-to-peer negotiations. We can be a way for people to be more restrict and run away from the government regulations. But I don't know if we can do this forever. It's in my opinion, it's a natural movement of governments controlling a little bit of our data. It's what I think.
Yeah, it's really like you said, there's peer-to-peer markets available, but they're hard to access, and it's just people want to find the easiest way to do things, and the easiest way usually involves some unknown costs, let's say. So you could figure out how to do it yourself, how to do the peer-to-peer marketplace, how to meet someone. I'm not sure how exactly I've never done it, but I've heard of people literally doing in person. People who were in Ukraine, basically, when they got donations, they had to turn it into cash somehow, and I remember the president explaining how they met someone and they were able to get cash directly on from their Bitcoin. So there are peer-to-peer deals that are available. But that's kind of an extreme large-scale example. But if you see on a lot of these exchanges too, some that don't require KYC, they have peer-to-peer exchanges separate from their own exchanges. So if you really want to be anonymous and get away from it, like Gil said, you can. It's just more difficult. So most people really go for the easy route, and you can't really complain if, you know, you agree to those terms and everything. So I think it's probably just like something for people to talk about. You know, it seems like there's just a ton of negativity going on. It's a very like adversarial environment, and I think it's actually good. A lot of these companies, I want to say, are kind of getting checked now. It's a good stress test, and if crypto comes out on the other side, there's going to be better practices. I mean, Coinbase has really gone through the ringer with the whole hiring and firing and like recalling jobs things already. So like, and then their NFT marketplace really hasn't lived up to expectations. I think Moody's, or I forget what credit rating agency, lowered their credit worthiness as a company down. So they've really been taking it on the chin as a public company. And Voyager, actually, people don't know, Voyager is actually a publicly traded company as well. Voyager Digital Lending Company we were speaking about before, and they're down major. But yeah, it's really tough for these companies that are in the public eye to really give the returns that people are expecting while playing by the rules and playing within safe ratios. So I think we're going to have to kind of recheck what our expectations are of a reasonable yield product in this environment, and obviously do some more due diligence on where this money is actually going, how it's being used, who's involved in it, because that's kind of the point of crypto, for it to be open, and like just the opacity of 3AC's deals with these various centralized finance lenders is a big reason why it's had such a big effect on the market. Like, I think had it been known that a lot of these deals were going on, people would have planned that into their risk profiles. But because it's all like news now and like coming to light, and there was a lot of cloak and dagger, kind of really not lying, but just not being honest. You know, that risk failed to be counted. So it's going to be interesting to see what we look like on the other side of this, but I think it'll be for the better overall. And I think that these centralized like companies are the ones that are going to really help this mass onboarding and mass adoption of crypto. Like, it's not going to be through MetaNet, it's not going to be directly through the blockchain, it's going to be through these companies. So like, they really need to like get it together in order for it to, like I said, reach the point of mass adoption.
Right. And it looks like, you know, every day we get closer to crypto regulation and it being imposed upon us. And, you know, as a woman in America, I already feel as our choices and our privacy is already taken from us anyways. So it's not something that bothers me much at this point. And like you said, I think, you know, we have to pay the price and we can move on. You can choose to, you know, do that, or, you know, be somebody who like completely anonymous, uses maybe a cold wallet, peer-to-peer transactions. But that's, I think, more for those that are very tech savvy, maybe even dark web savvy at that point.
Well, just like the Ukrainians that are, you know, fleeing the country, people that want to carry an asset from one country to another. Like, there's also like, you know, the smaller ones that in El Salvador, for example, they have that Bitcoin beach, like Zonte Beach. So like, you know, there's a massive peer-to-peer marketplace, like where you can actually go and like do it there. So it's like certain areas like actually have it, and I'm sure you can like find it. And then they have, I think in the US, I'm pretty sure the Bitcoin ATMs like work the other way too. I'm not sure. So I think that they're making it, you know, there are other ways that aren't as sketchy as it seems, you know, and people are just doing it out of necessity. But yeah, that's another thing though. People, you know, some people just don't want like to be tracked like everywhere, and that's a big reason why they believe in it. Not even the price or anything, just the ability to have peer-to-peer transactions somewhat pseudonymously.
Right. I mean, we need to talk to Anonymous. Maybe he can help us out. But I mean, looking more into the NFT space, as we kind of wrap up our talks here, it looks like Axie Infinity with their NFT game and their Ronin Bridge has finally reopened their play to earn system. In March, they had a $625 million theft. And so the developer group behind Axie, Sky Mavis, and the Ronin blockchain, the powers of the game, announced that players can now use the bridge to make deposits and withdrawals. So that's super exciting for them to reopen, maybe have a little bit more trust back in the community. And I'm sure that they've put some measures in place to prevent those, large thefts from occurring, which anywhere we go in any financial market, we can always see that there will be scams, there will be thefts. So it's not surprising to see that, NFTs are also being attacked. A while back, Seth Green's Bored Ape was stolen. So just be careful, guys. Don't click on any hyperlinks.
I believe it's Sky Mavis, but didn't they say that they were also going to make all the players whole at some point, like repay everyone on there? I remember them saying something along those lines, which I thought was
believe they did.
Yeah, did they say anything? If they've been updated about that? Because I found that interesting. I haven't heard of many hacked chains really trying to make people whole again, which would be impressive, because the people that used that, were people, I know in the Philippines, it's very popular because people were making more than they were in their minimum wage jobs. And a company called Yield Guild Games had set up shop there that basically takes on what they call scholars. So they basically loan out the NFTs because you need, I think, 3 to have a team, and it's out of the price range of the average person. So they loan them out, and then they get a percentage of whatever the person makes in the in-game currency, which is called smooth love potions. And you can actually trade that for like Ethereum or for stable coins. So it's really, that hack affected a lot of people who weren't in a position to really recover from it, which I really found a shame. I also know, or not know, but heard it was North Korea, who's been very popular with the on-chain hacking to fund their nuclear program. So, yeah.
They must be
it's wild. They're able to track this. These blockchain analytics companies, but I'm glad to see that they're back up and running. Hopefully they can reclaim their price point, because I'm not sure how profitable it is now. I know at some point it was very profitable, but it's lost a lot of its value.
Right.
In this market,
So about on June 30th, they apparently announced that users will be made whole after the theft, and they have placed some security measures and things. So now the protocol has established daily withdrawal limits starting at 50 million, not including tier 3 withdrawals. These measures have been put in place to prevent further attacks and restore the public's trust in the popular P2E platform once again. So it looks like they're taking these steps to earn the trust back from their community and make it safer for their community. The player count is still repressed and depressed, it says. But hopefully as things start to build back up, as our markets start to correct, they'll regain their community. It's definitely one of the larger play to earn games out there. And I'm excited to see, what they continue doing. I think they're a really good player, and they're trying, from what it seems, to do right by their community. So that's all we can do sometimes, is try, of course. And there's some people that will be good at it, and there's some people that will be bad at it. But speaking of maybe some bad people, we have Anna Delvey coming up again. So we did speak about her once before, comparing Do Kwan to her. She's a convicted scammer, also known as Anna Sorokin. She is currently in the Orange County Correctional Facility, and she plans to launch a collection of NFTs. Sorokin told NBC that she was going to mint 10 NFTs that will grant holders exclusive access to her, which includes one-on-one phone calls. 3 ultra platinum NFTs grant the opportunity to meet her in person and receive a package of personal items. Within controversial terms, she stated, "If they want my panties, they can have them." Looks like she is, finding a way to continue her reign, continue making money. Hopefully she won't be scamming anybody, and, she'll pull through with her meet in person reward for, getting these NFTs, staking them, whatever it will be. But that actually kind of brings me to a point of a new NFT platform that I discovered while I was at the Consensus called layerc.io. They are a NFT marketplace where you can have a limited community. So, they have to be part of your community to be able to use the marketplace. And you can reward back the community. So let's say Anna Delvey wanted to, mint her NFTs on there, allow people to use them on their platform. She could have the reward, for staking her NFT be that one-on-one meeting where they would have to have a certain amount of points to claim that reward, kind of like, cashback rewards on a credit card, but for NFTs. So I thought that was a really great platform coming out. They're starting up and, in early stages of bringing new clients on board. So if you're an NFT creator, artist, or in the NFT community, I would say definitely check them out. Some great things in the making with them. And maybe we'll see some Anna Delvey NFTs on there as well. But as we're wrapping up in our last few minutes here, I'd like to open the floor, just for some discussion, maybe some of the things that you think we might have missed. Guy, do you have anything you wanted to talk about before we close up?
I think just another point that we were talking about, and then I wanted to contribute, is that there's a point here that we have 2 types of investors in crypto, right? As we were saying. First of all, the ones who actually do the peer-to-peer trading, like negotiations, and keep their crypto in the hard wallet. That's the type number 1. And the type number 2, which is the ones who are a little bit too lazy and they are not into doing peer-to-peer transactions. They just buy from the exchanges and keep their money in there. I just wanted to say that I really think that you have more than like $10,000 in crypto, you should have a hard wallet, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys think something about it, but it's just something that I wanted to say because I've seen a lot of scams and stuff. The internet is so wide. So I just wanted to say, guys, if you have a good amount of money in crypto, please consider buying a hard wallet. That's the only thing that I wanted to say before we end.
No, I mean, I, as a trader, agree with you. If you have a large amount of crypto holdings, you should be taking the precautionary measures to make sure your crypto's safe, and having a hard wallet can definitely help do that. In terms, when we're using centralized exchanges, we can't always see what's happening behind closed doors. With the whole thing's supposed to be transparent, there's always going to be those who try to go around and do things that they're not supposed to do. So it's always great to make sure that you're taking the steps to be precautionary in your own life. And, whether that's some people are now starting to keep, cash instead of leave their money in the bank. It's the same thing for crypto. If you have a lot of money, maybe you're going to store it, let's say, in gold. You're going to store it in your hard wallet. That actually brings me to a good point. I saw a VPN, which is like a hard VPN. So basically, you put it into your computer and it actually mines their token as well at the same time. So I thought that was pretty cool. I know my dad recently got one, so I'll have to find out, how it's working out for him and if it's performing any good, because, in terms of risk management, I think VPNs are always great in general to have as protection on the internet. There's lots of scams and frauds worldwide in all types and shapes and forms. So just protect yourselves. Take precautionary measures and don't click any links. That's for sure.
There was one more thing, Jasmine. Just during this bear market, I think it's important, for people to really take the time to really educate themselves about what's going on. Like, it's really not a great time to be buying, period. Like, if you just look at the trend, we're in a downtrend. If you're just entering the market, really just start learning, because if you make any moves now, it's probably going to be the wrong move, because no one knows what's going to happen next. And a lot of times, a lot of wealth is made during these bear markets. Thinking back to the .com bubble, there were companies like Microsoft and Google and everything that, were on fire sales, that people that bought back then are now very happy they did.
Sure.
Their 100x returns and everything. So I think it's really important to understand that everything in the crypto space is not the same. Bitcoin is not the same as Ethereum. And while they're trading kind of similarly now, I think it's really a result of A, the institutions getting involved, and B, the macro environment. Once things start to clear up and more liquidity starts to get back into this space, you're going to see capital deployed to these better projects, these products that have more legs to them and have longer time horizons. So right now, is a really could be a generational time to really take a moment to set up yourself in some winners. Once things really start to turn around and you have some confirmations. While Bitcoin and Ethereum have dropped, 50, 60%, these other coins are down like 80, 90%. And some of them really do have value. It's just, it doesn't have much liquidity and it's further out on the risk curve. For example, one thing that was similar to what you were talking about, Jasmine, is the Helium network. And it's basically a private network, or a private internet network that is run by users who have their own miners. And for running this private internet network, they're rewarded Helium tokens. So like something like that, like a completely decentralized internet, and they're thinking about adding, phone plans to that. So imagine, people being able to run these miners and have like phone plans across like everywhere, and like them being able to capture that value instead of these companies. Things like that are really exciting and like show how this can really democratize traditional business models and financial markets. So I think now's a really good time because there's not too much FOMO to like rush into anything because everything's going down. So if you really take the time to like learn, what the market's looking at, where it's heading, what the next innovations are. For example, ETH moving to proof of stake and the merge, like what are going to be the effects of that? There's a lot of interesting things to look into now. That everything, is kind of winterish or like bearish. So I definitely highly encourage people to really get out there and learn and educate themselves as much as possible. Because when the bear market comes back, it's going to come back. So just set yourself up for success in the future.
No, you're completely right. I always say knowledge is power. And some great resources is, YouTube itself. Of course, you want to do some research on who you're watching and learning from, but you got to remember is like, now we're in a point in our lives where you need to fix something on your car, you can YouTube it. You need to, fix your AC, you can YouTube it. So we have a wealth of knowledge out there, and it's just a matter of finding good knowledge. I myself really like to watch Minority Mindset. He talks a lot about how, the cycle keeps us poor and we continue to do the same things. But if we can get financially educated, anyone can do it. And the millionaires are made during recessions, during bear markets. That's when millionaires are made. So if that's not your sign, I don't know what to tell you. We're all telling you here, take this time, educate yourself, become, the financial master in crypto and Web3, DeFi. You got this. Stay safe. I know there's been a lot of COVID outbursts again, so everybody stay safe, stay cool, make good trades, manage your risk, check out Vector, and we will see you on the other side.
All right, everyone, be safe. Don't invest more than you're comfortable with.
Yes, please don't do that.
If you're not all right with it going to zero, don't put it in there because it could easily go to zero.
Basically, choose the right crypto to invest your money in, please.
A message from the team here at Vector. Use Vector properly. Don't invest more than you can. And hopefully we will see you next time.